Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws. This was Mayor Amschel Rothschild back in 1790. The modern banking system manufactures money out of nothing. The process is perhaps the most astonishing piece of sleight of hand ever invented. Banking was conceived in iniquity and born in sin. Bankers own the earth. Take it away from them, but leave them the power to create money. They will, with a flick of the pen, they will create enough money to buy it back again. Take this great power away from them, and all great fortunes will disappear. And they ought to disappear, for then this would be a better and a happier world to live in.
But all right, did you hear that? Let me back it up one more time. They just create money out of thin air. So the United States dollar, right, was backed by gold, and they took it off that gold standard in 1971 by Nixon because they didn't have enough gold to cover the so-called money. So the current money that you have, whether it be debit, credit, or fiat currency like the paper so-called money, it's all monopoly money. It's all made up. All right, check this out.
Get enough money to buy it back again. Banking was conceived in iniquity and born in sin. The modern banking system manufactures money out of nothing. The process is perhaps the most astonishing piece of sleight of hand ever invented. Banking was conceived in iniquity and born in sin.
All right, so let me get into this lesson, but you know, it's a lot to cover. I'm gonna get into this article, but let me get into one thing at a time. Salakia. But the current system that we know, right, of so-called money is all an illusion, right? It's all just witchcraft, right? It's money magic. I'm gonna get into this article, but that was one of the Rothschild bankers, right, that came up that said made that statement. Salakia, sorry about that. Give me 1 second. Right here, this devil. It says, let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws. So all your politicians that you love, that you believe in, right, are all paid off, right? They're all sellouts, right? They've been sold out to this system, right? And this whole system that we live in is a dictatorship disguised as a democracy. This all an illusion, right? So right here, whoever control the money, the so-called money, control the world. Who's controlling the world? Who control the money? The so-called white man. All right, the upper echelon of the Edomites. Job 9:24. It said, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked." So the earth is given into the control of the wicked. Who is the wicked? Pursuant to the book of Malachi, chapter 1, verse 3 and 4. Esau, Edom. Esau is the end of the world, end of age, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. The kingdom of Israel. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. So this not talking about no conventional judge that you know today, right? The judge that sits in the so-called courtroom. No, the judges that it's talking about is the Most High, right? The ultimate judge, Yahweh Shai, the angels, the patriarchs out of the Bible. He covered their faces because he put his face up as being a Messiah, the Most High, the angels, the patriarchs out of the Bible. He whitewashed history, right? If not, where and who is it? So if it's not the so-called white man, who the hell is it? So in 1971, they took the so-called United States dollar off the off the gold standard, right? Let's go here. What is fiat money? So the current money, so-called money that you have today, we can't really even call it money. Real money, when you go into the root of the word, money means mint, right? Which they minted gold and silver, which is real money. The stuff that we have now is monopoly money, right? It's not backed by anything. It says, what is fiat money? It said fiat money is a government issued currency. You hear that? Currency that is not backed by physical commodity, such as gold or silver, or rather by the government that issued it. The value of fiat money is derived, Salakia, from the relationship between supply and demand and the stability of the issuing government rather than worth of a commodity backing it. So it's backed by nothing. That's the sleight of hand. That's this money magic, right? That everybody under the spell of until you get free. So I'm gonna go here. This is a heavy, heavy article right here. Right. So it's nothing new under the sun. This is the so-called white man used this technique to bewitch the people. but try to tell Jake that so-called money ain't real money, right? They ain't trying to hear it. Whether it be in your debit, your credit, and the physical so-called money, it's all an illusion. It's all part of this matrix. Check this out. It says the ancient Babylonians believed that money and wealth were the result of magical forces. They believed that certain spells and rituals could be performed in order to out bring about abundance. Salakia. And this knowledge was passed down through generations. This knowledge was later adopted by the Khazarian mafia, which go back to Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Right? That's a whole nother lesson. It says who rebranded themselves as Knights, Templars, and the Rothschilds. Most people never heard of this family name. These powerful organizations used the knowledge of money magic, to create an economic system that allowed them to amass a vast amount of wealth and power. It says by controlling the flow of money and controlling the supply of currency, they were able to manipulate the market. So the stock market, all that's manipulated, right? Jay get all into that, but if you can know how to work it, right, and create a system of debt and servitude, so you're nothing but a slave, right? We locked into this system, right, which is straight folly, right? It says that has allowed them to maintain their power and wealth. The Khazarians and their successors have used money magic to enslave humanity, both through direct means and through indirect methods. It says by controlling the flow of money and the supply of currency, they have been able to manipulate markets and create a system of debt. That's why you have to borrow money. You get a car, you have to get a loan. To get a home, you have to get a loan. Our people don't question these things. They just do it because they don't know better, right? This is all a debt-based economy, right? But that's going back into the curses that we would have to go to the Edomites for the one for all things. It says system of debt and servitude that has kept people in a state of poverty and oppression. It says by controlling the flow of information and knowledge, that's another thing they control, the literature, the academia, right, which you intake information wise, right? It's all brainwashed and been indoctrinated. It says they have also been able to suppress and control the minds of the masses. So you're under deep mind control if you don't wake up. So a lot of people think this is real money. They're under a spell, they're under this witchcraft. It says the Ashkenazi so-called Jews are a distinct ethnic and religious group with the Jewish community, and their origins are closely linked to the Khazar Empire. There you go, which go back to Esau Edom, Amulek. According to historical records, Khazar royal family and their court converted, converted to Judaism, which you can't convert to a nationality, right? That's folly, right? But they created their own religion called Judaism that they don't even, they believe in the Babylonian Talmud. It says converted to Judaism in the 8th century, where they really go back to John Hyrcanus and the Maccabees when he made these Edomites convert over, right, and keep our customs. It says this conversion has a major impact on the development of the Ashkenazi community. I told you they weren't real people. As Khazars spread their new faith across Eastern Europe over time, the descendants of the Khazar Jews formed their own distinct culture and identity. You hear this? Which eventually evolved into the Ashkenazi Jewish community that we know today. We told you, man. The Rothschild family is a prominent banking family of the Ashkenazi Jewish origin. The family has been involved in banking and finance since the 18th century, and they the one funded the go, like for the so-called fake Jews to go take the land of Palestine, as they call it, which would be the land of Israel, right? Has had a major influence over the global financial system. The Rothschilds were instrumental in setting up the Bank of England in 1964. You hear this? And their banking operation eventually extended to other countries, including France, Germany, and the United States. You hear this? It says in 1913, the Rothschilds helped to establish the Federal Reserve in the United States. This is very important information, which is the central banking system of the U.S. So it's not a part of the government. It's a part of the Rothschild banking system. The Federal Reserve ain't got nothing to do with the federal government. right? Which central banking system of the United States is responsible for selling monetary policy. The Rothschilds were also involved in the financing. Let me get straight to the good part. So this is money magic that they pull from Babylon, and there's no coincidences. It's known as Babylon the Great. All right. So I'm going to get straight to the point, the meat. Check this out. It says the connection between ancient Babylon money magic and the oil magic goes back to the origin of the petrodollar. It says the petrodollar is a system of currency manipulation and financial control that was created by the United States in the early 20th century. This is placed Babylon coming into full power, right? It says the idea was to create a global currency system based on the United States dollar. That's why the United States is the backup currency of the world. So they're able to use these sanctions, right, to put on other countries to paralyze them, right? Because it's Babylon the Great. It says which would be backed by all reserves that's getting ready to change, right? That's why this place is getting ready to fall. It says this would allow the U.S. to export its currency around the world and use money to purchase oil at a cheaper rate. It says to do this, the United States implemented various measures such as controlling the price of oil, creating a global network of oil producers, and influencing international bank to accept the United States dollar as a main currency for international transactions. Do you hear this? This is a very big deal to know this information. All right. These monkey-minded Americans have no clue. It says this allowed the United States to control the global oil market and establish itself as a primary provider of oil. It says the petrodollar was based on ancient Babylonian money magic, as it relied on manipulating the currency and using oil as a form of collateral. This allowed the United States to gain a powerful upper hand in the global economy and to allow it to leverage its power to control the global oil market. This allowed the U.S. to become the world's primary oil supplier and create a system of currency manipulation and financial control that still exists today. Revelation, I think that this is the reign over the kings of the earth, right? Revelations, I think 18 to 17. It says the Rothschilds control the United States dollar through the Federal Reserve System, which is the central banking system of the United States. The Federal Reserve was created in 1913 and was largely based on a plan developed by the Rothschilds. You hear this? It says the Federal Reserve has the power to create and issue money, regulate the value of money, control interest rates. You hear this? And manage the banking system. This gives the Rothschilds a great deal of control over the United States and its currency. United States economy and its currency. That's heavy, right? It's so much more to this. It says the Rothschilds have used their influence to manipulate the United States economy and currency for their own gain. They have used the Federal Reserve to raise and lower interest rates. So all that interest rate BS is all made up. It says print money and expand the money supply, of which can affect the value of the United States dollar. Additionally, the Rothschilds have used their influence to gain access to privileged information, allowing them to make decisions that would benefit them financially. By controlling the Federal Reserve, the Rothschilds are able to control the United States dollar, which they control the world, and manipulate the global economy for their own gain. You hear this, right? So it's a lot more, but you get it. You know what I'm saying? Earth is given into the hands of the wicked, but they do it. That's how the dollar was able to get its foothold, right? So on and so forth. Hopefully this lesson was edifying. Call Allah Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rachak Wadash. Shalom.